What's up, guys? Nethervvoid here with more Cities Skylines for you, episode 34, Restructuring of Old Town. And actually, what happened in this video is I lost my audio. I thought I had saved it off, I thought I had exported it, and I didn't. And so, I'm just going to be talking over this video, but I'm trying to talk and it's not working. So, basically what I'm talking about here is I've made a new asset for the four-way off-ramp right here. And the video is probably not going to keep up in sync with what I'm saying, so I'm just going to kind of talk, because I can already see that it's not keeping up. I don't know why this happens every time I try to do this kind of thing, but now the video is totally locked up almost, and I can't see what's going on. So I'm restructuring this industrial area because I think this interchange is going to take up a lot of space. So now I'm just getting rid of it. What I did is I made a new asset that doesn't use those single lane off ramps, because those single lane off ramps or just don't have enough volume. They can't take as much. There's not enough throughput there, and so what happens is you can get traffic backed up just because there's not enough space for cars to move from one freeway to another. And in fact, I've never really seen freeways that have single lane interchanges like that. And I don't know if that's the Finnish don't have those kind of freeway interchanges, but in the United States, we definitely have none of our freeway interchanges. Two freeways that are near each other, none of them have single lane. As far as I know, I mean, there's a few places where they do have a single lane off ramp to the other city, but it's really rare because, I mean, you're sending three lanes, let's say, into another 3 lane, or 4 lanes into a 4 lane. There's probably going to be a lot of cars that want to go from one freeway to the next, and so you're going to need at least 2, if not 3 lanes to change over, because you could have a lot of traffic trying to get to the other freeway. It's not like an off-ramp. And even off-ramps in the United States, well, at least in California, I don't know about everywhere, but they have, 2 or 3 lanes. Some of them are 4-lane off-ramps because there's so much traffic coming off the freeway, especially like in rush hour, and when you have people trying to get to work. There's a lot of times even the 4-lane off ramps are backed up because there's so much traffic coming off that off ramp to get to work. So right here I'm putting it in. You can see it's pretty nice. I'm just trying to make sure that the curves are correct, because you know me and curves. And I'm also having some chamomile tea because for me it's Easter Sunday and I just ate a bunch of non-paleo stuff. I'm pretty strict paleo. The only thing I don't care about and I consume quite frequently actually is beer. I have a beer. Sometimes I'll just have one after work, or maybe I'll have a couple after work or something like that, and I don't really care about that. It's not paleo. Beer is definitely not paleo, but I don't really care. I just drink it anyway. So I can hear the sound in the background, so I kind of know what's going on, but I cannot see the video very well. I see like 1 frame every 15 seconds. Again, I don't know why it does that. All it's doing is playing back a video. I don't know why this is. Oh, well, I know the file is pretty big. Fraps footage is like 300 gigs for a typical 30-minute file. So that's why I have a hard time sometimes. I think it's just read speed. It doesn't want to read it fast enough or display it. I'm not really sure. So anyway, this interchange is looking pretty good. It does have kind of those straight off ramps or interchanges, but other than that, it's kind of cool. I like it. I wanted them to be more curved, but there really wasn't a way to make them more curved, but also have them not be such a perpendicular connection, because the way traffic works in this game is that it does slow down and it goes around corners. So you don't want people to have to turn a lot. You want them to have a kind of a smooth exit onto either off the freeway or to the next freeway, or to the next street if they're going pretty quick. You don't want them to have to slow down too much. It makes a lot of traffic. So, sorry about that. My stomach is just not feeling good. So that sucker's pretty much in. Again, I'm not seeing any kind of updates. Okay, now I just got a refresh here. It's looking pretty good. There's one thing I need to fix off to the left. I hope I see it. There's a connection that's not there. I don't hear anything destroying, so I'm not sure. I guess I don't see it. But I'm also going to have to fix that industrial area, which we have not named yet. You need to put a name in the video comment section if you want to name that. If we still haven't named it, pretty soon I'm going to have to give it a name, because it's had Maple Hills for, I don't know, 10, 15 episodes now. And it's really crappy. I really don't want to have that freaking Maple Hills there anymore. I'd really rather have something that actually has meaning to us. Like the Stuart District is kind of cool. I like Stuart District and Tambourine Park, how there's a backstory to them. Old Town is kind of obvious because it's where I first started my city. Industrial City makes sense, I guess. So I don't know about Maple Hills. There's really no backstory to it. We could probably make one. But if I have a name, then it's easier to kind of make a backstory. Also, I'm noticing there's a lot of space that's unused between the part of Maple Hills closest to the freeway and that off-ramp. It's off-ramp. Because I think in the other districts, I curved it back up toward the freeway to get more space. You use that space more. So there, I did fix it finally. But also, I noticed that no, those look correct. I think I turned them in the wrong direction now. Oh, I probably did. The off-ramps were correct. I think I changed their direction on accident. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back and fix that on episode 35. We'll have to check that out, because I thought the off-ramps were the wrong direction. But they look like the correct direction here. Maybe I already fixed it. We'll have to check the asset anyway. So, fixing up this area, and it really was not that easy to draw that leaf system. The leaf system really only works, in my opinion, only works well with a square. As soon as you kind of get like a weird shape, even a rectangle, it becomes a lot harder. So, fixing this up, it's going to give me a lot. I have a lot more room for industrial over here. And I'm going to be needing more residential space soon. But we're going to be fixing up Old Town. I think at about the 10-minute mark, we switch over to fixing up Old Town. Ah, that tea is great. Herbal tea, not regular tea. Regular tea has caffeine in it. And caffeine's actually not good for you because it raises your cortisol levels. And I don't know the exact science behind this, so this could be, I mean, if there's a nutritionist out there watching this, they probably like, wait, what about this? But it raises your cortisol levels, which kind of screws with a couple of your different metabolic hormone cycles. Not cycles, but systems. And I think when your cortisol levels are raised, your body tries to store fat because it's worried about losing too much fat for survival or something like that. So, in a small way, caffeine affects your cortisol levels. The cortisol hormone is the stress hormone. So also when you get stressed out, your cortisol levels will go up. And that also causes you to retain fat, I believe. So yeah, it's something you don't really want to do. I'm trying to get away from having caffeine, but right before I started this, really what I'm reading is It Starts With Food, the book called It Starts With Food. And, other people know it as Whole30, and I eat closer to Whole30 than Paleo, because Paleo you can actually eat quite a few different things more than Whole30. But with Whole30, basically what it's about is, you should be eating foods that are whole, that either they're cut straight from the animal, or they're pulled straight from the ground, or things like that. They're not processed. You don't really need to eat processed food. Now, that doesn't mean you can't cut vegetables up and throw them in a stew. They're not talking about the cooking process. They're talking about pre-cooking processing, like, oatmeal, which we can't eat anyway because it's a grain. But, okay, let me think of something else that you could probably eat with paleo, but you can't once it's processed. I don't know. Beef bouillon. They say that even in this book it says it's okay, but it's a very processed thing most of the time. Beef bouillon, it's not just spices, it's a couple other things. Or, what's another really heavily processed thing? I guess meat from fast food places are very heavily processed. It's not simply a steak put through a meat grinder. That's fine. That's preparing it to eat, right? I'm talking about taking out the fiber so it cooks faster. Adding in preservatives and taking things and adding things and, to make it more to what kind of, that helps the company sell more food or something like that, or have the food not go bad so quickly and things like that. And that is really what screws the food up. So you can have a lot of bad chemical buildup in your food that way and in your body. And now that I've eaten this, really went off my paleo thing today. I had what else? What did I have? What are the things I had? I had 2 cookies, rather large ones, homemade. They were really tasty. I also had a cup of ice cream, which is not paleo at all. First of all the sugar. But really, in Whole 30 anyway, dairy is something you shouldn't be eating. So I had that. I had chili, my mom's chili, which is phenomenal, but it has beans, and you can't eat beans on Whole 30 because legumes are not something your body processes very well. So yeah, I shouldn't have eaten that. I went back for seconds on that. It was good. I just kind of cheated. And then I had like a bunch of Guinness, which you're not supposed to have, which I drink all the time anyway. I mean, how can you go without Guinness? I don't know. I don't think it's possible. But so anyway, fixing this district up before we move on to Old Town. We should be moving to Old Town pretty soon if I haven't already. I haven't had an update on the screen in about a minute. So it'd be really nice to get an update. I know I'm doing some clicking here. I can't see what I'm doing. Also, I really want to... Yeah, okay, now we're starting on the Old Town rebuild here. It's odd that I only get one picture every... whatever seconds. I just find that funny. I find it odd. And again, it's because it's working through a 300 gig file is really why. A lot of times I used to... like, when this would happen, when I was doing War Thunder... I would just render the video out into like a really low quality so it was quick. And then that way it was like a half a gig file and my drive was fine with that. It's really the throughput of the drive. It can't read fast enough to show me the video in real time. It's funny how it can write it, but it can't read it. I thought reading was faster, but you know, whatever. I don't really want to complain about it because it works, but so I really liked what happened with the Old Town, fixing Old Town. It actually went really well. And the leaf system here is going to work really well because the district is almost square. And if you can see what's going on, I'm putting in arteries and capillaries just like I showed you before. And that really is the key to the system, is to split everything up with arteries. And really what you want is one split. You want your main drag to come into a T-split into two different arteries of 6-lane arteries. And you just keep splitting that until you get down low enough to start doing capillaries, which usually is between 8 or 10 squares length. Once you're down to something that small, you're good. And I think when you split the traffic what I like to do is split the traffic at least twice. So I want at least 2 T's, right? It's nice to have 3, but 2 is usually fine to split the traffic up enough to where you're not going to have traffic problems. And you have a good flow coming in your main drag. You should get use of all 6 lanes that way. But one thing I'm aware of is that cars, or whoever, once they pick a destination, when they pick a destination to go, they will stick to that lane. They will not switch lanes. So if you've got billion, like we saw when I had the cargo terminal hooked up to Industrial City, is that it drew in so much traffic. That thing draws in so much traffic that I had car pile up all the way back on the freeway, and everybody uses the exact same lane because they're going to the exact same place. And in this game, the computer's not smart enough to go, well, it doesn't calculate how long it's going to take to get there. And that's the difference between real life traffic and, well, there are 2 differences. One is I can look at Google, like I can do something in Google Maps and route out, say, hey, how do I get to the X, right? And Google will tell me the quickest way because it knows where the traffic is. So if it's like, if the main street that you would normally come in on to get to this place is all backed up, Google will try to send you on an alternate route if it's faster. It'll calculate alternate routes for you. That's really cool. This game doesn't have that. For obvious reasons, it's a city simulator. It's got a lot more to do than just traffic. In my opinion, traffic is probably the kingpin to the whole game because it's about how everything you build interacts with the other. So that's why the traffic system is kind of simple in this game. It really needs to be a little bit more complex. Secondly, the game doesn't know if there's traffic or not. It does not take that into consideration. Secondly, it will not use more than 1 lane when it plans a route. So it doesn't care if you're going on a 6 lane or not. It uses each of the lanes in its planning, sure. Like, okay, since I'm going here, I need to be in lane 2, let's say. Because that's a shorter distance, I'm going to need to get off pretty soon. Like, I don't need to stay on the freeway very long, so I'm going to get in the middle lane. It does do that, but it does that for every vehicle that's going to that location. So the problem becomes, if you, let's say you have a nice layout like we do here, which is pretty much symmetric, right? So you think, oh great, the traffic's gonna be fine. But let's say the right half of this district, or actually this district is already doing what I'm talking about. There's a lot of high density residential in the front part of the district. So what that means is most of the cars are going to be on the first lane or two on the sides of the street, on the left, on the far left or the far right, because they're going to be turning soon. So they get in those lanes. So it's going to pile up still on the extreme lanes. Once I get more high density in the tail end of the district, or in the very back of the district, there will be more cars piling up in the center lanes, because I think what I read someone saying is the traffic engine puts people closer to the middle if they have further to go. So the further away their destination is, it will put them into the middle lanes in a 6-lane one way, or it will put them in the far left lane on the highway, because they have further to go, right? And so you can actually screw yourself by overloading the density of one area of your district. You need to even out the density of your district. It needs to be very, very even, which is really hard to do in a game like this, because in real life that doesn't happen. You have kind of clusters of high density, and so you don't really. You can build it to make it work correctly with traffic, but then it ends up looking not very good, because it just looks like a mechanical robot built it, right? And in a sense, that's kind of what my stuff looks like, because in real life, city planners don't build cities this way. They don't build traffic, they don't build artery to vein like this. I think it's a good idea, they just don't do it. And you'll see tons of traffic in cities and stuff, because they do have high density packed in areas. But here, the thing is though, people like you and me, humans, we will change lanes. We don't need to stay in one lane. We don't care. We can change to the other lane if there's nobody there. Also, we'll use Google Maps to figure out the shortest distance to that place, and we might take a totally different route, which this game doesn't do either. It would be really nice to see them upgrade the traffic engine in this system. I really think it needs an upgrade, because traffic is really hard to deal with, and I'm giving people ample volume and throughput, and they aren't using it. Like the huge mega 6-lane off-ramp thing I have, I've never even seen one of those in real life, because there's never been heavy enough traffic for someone to need that. I mean, 6-lane off-ramps? Multiple 6-lane off-ramps, 6-lane for one direction, 6-lane for the other direction? That's ridiculous. I've never seen that before. I've seen some 6-lane off-ramps, period, but that serves both directions of traffic. And there's only one, and it served both ways. So, but I've never seen 6-lane for turning right and 6-lane for turning left. That's larger than most freeway. Like, most freeways in the world are not 12 lanes, So, that would be something I would really like to see them work on. So it's working really well in here. I think this system is going to work really well. And in fact, I know it is, because I've seen the outcome of it afterward, and it does work out pretty well. The real problem still is that cars don't use all 6 lanes, and there's almost no way around it. I think really there's a limit to how much traffic you can push through an area in this game. There just is. I could probably make my system a little bit better than it is, but I just feel like it's really good already, and so I don't think there's going to be a lot more aha moments, many more aha moments that are going to produce really noticeable differences with the traffic in my city. I just don't see that happening. One thing I am doing though is the problem that happened with the train the cargo train, and how I said, oh no, I have, look, people are driving through the district to get to the freeway. I think that generally is not an issue. I think with so many interchanges that I have now and ways that you can turn around and stuff, I don't see that as a problem anymore. So I think connecting districts, having multiple connections to the freeway, I don't think people are going to be abusing that, or lots of traffic's going to be abusing it. I think what was happening was the cargo train terminal. That was what was causing all that traffic in Industrial City. It wasn't connections to the freeway. Sure, some vehicles will drive through district to get through to the other part of the freeway, sure. Is it faster than going around the highway? Probably not. But they do it anyway. But it's probably not faster. So I'm okay with hooking stuff up to different parts of the freeway, like you saw me do in the Joe Stewart district. Hooking one side of it up to the freeway was a really good idea, because again, it's really just because they don't use the whole 6 lanes of off-ramp. If they were using all 6 lanes of the off-ramp over there, I'd never have any traffic issues ever, because there was so much volume, so much throughput you could push through those off-ramps and stuff. It was crazy. You could probably fit, I don't know, 600 to 800 cars on that off-ramp, like probably no problem. And there's no light there, so they just flow straight through. They're never stopping, not till way deep into the district. You could fit from the stoplight to the freeway with 6 lanes. You could probably fit 60,000, or not 60,000, let's say 6,000 cars or something crazy like that. 600 at least, but 6,000 probably. No, yeah, I guess that probably would be about 600 to 1,000 cars. That's a lot. Trying to get off in one spot like that, it's really unusual. So there was definitely a lot of throughput on that off-ramp. It's just that the system can't use it, because it doesn't understand to get in different lanes. So it is what it is. Not a big deal. So I can see I'm still redistricting this thing, or rebuilding the way that the traffic's going to work in this district, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome. Actually, I used to think Old Town sucked, but now with this system, and I really like it. And I know, basically, I was talking about how Joe Stewart was like, look, man, we know we need trees in these areas. I mean, people want trees down their streets, so they got to upgrade all these, streets to have these trees, tree-lined streets. We really need that. So people were complaining because it was going to cost too much, and Joe says, look, man, it's just a few extra bucks, and it's worth it. We need to do it. So he got that pushed through the city planning committee, and it worked out. And we've now got tree-lined streets. He said, Old Town's the jewel of the city, man. It's got to be the best we have. This is where the tourism is. It's right off the freeway right here. It's really what we need to show everybody, that we are a legit city. We're a place to be. And so Joe Stewart's pushing it. So yeah, now we've got all these nice upgraded streets. I don't know what that does. It probably does raise the land values in the area, I would imagine. But I wish I could see what was going on, because I really can't. I know I'm fixing up the commercial area. Another thing I really hated is I lost a lot of my high rises when I did this, but they'll be back. I just kind of wanted to keep all that growth, but I'll just have to, it'll just regrow over time. And since I did destroy a lot of the commercial stuff, I think is why I have so much industrial and commercial demand, because I just destroyed everybody's jobs. And so people are out of work. They're looking for work while the Old Town district gets rebuilt. And you don't see cities doing this. I've never ever heard of this before. Rebuilding the streets of a whole district like this, never. So don't plan on seeing this in real life, because it's not going to happen. But it's cool. It's kind of neat to be able to do this. Are we getting close to the end? I don't even know how long this freaking video is. Probably should look. You know what? Oh, okay, we're 24:30 in, but let's look at, and I knew that anyway. Let's look at how long it is. Okay, it's 32:37. Okay, so I just need to make sure I know when it's time to stop talking. That's one of the things I don't like about recording audio after the video has already been recorded. I don't like to do post recording audio. because it's harder to stay in tune with what you're doing in the video. I really like to record audio and video at the same time, and just talk to you guys while I play and stuff like that. I think it's just much more organic for me than talking after the fact. I can do it like if I'm playing World of Tanks and stuff, and I'm watching a game. It's easy to commentate over a live game like that. Well, not live, but a game like that, where you can watch the action. But this is a little bit harder because I was doing a lot of talking about Joe Stugart in this video when I recorded it, and I just lost the audio, which really sucks. It was pretty funny, I thought, but hearing Joe Stugart's argument for why Old Town needed to have tree-lined streets, even though that costs, it costs more. So I really ran out of stuff to talk about, and since I'm not getting an update except about once a minute on what the frick is going on in this video. I don't really know what the heck is going on here. But I am really satisfied with how... Oh, that looks nice. Yeah, you can see I'm doing the I'm doing those the V intersection here where the veins can flow back into the arteries if people need to circle about in the actual district itself, instead of go out on the freeway and come back on, because that's gonna, when you make them go out of the district to get on the freeway to come back in the district, all you do is increase traffic quite a lot actually into your main drag, and it just backs up stuff onto the freeway usually. So allowing them to circle back in through the district is really a big deal. The services can't do it, so they're gonna have to use the freeway, but it's not that big of a deal. They can just go out the exit, flip around, and come back. But like, one thing people like to do after they get off work, or is it on their way home? I can't remember. I don't know how it works exactly. Is residents like to go shopping, and so with having commercial right there, all they do is drive down, the artery to the veins, and then ride that vein back, and they can go shopping that way, back through the artery system. So they don't have to leave the district to shop, which is good. You don't want them to have to go very far to do that. So I think I'm fixing up the other side. I was going to maybe wait till the next episode to finish, but I was really close to getting done anyway, so I just figured I'd finish this whole thing. And also, what's the next project? Well, with that level of industrial demand, I'm sure I'll be working on whatever that other industrial district is that has yet to be named. We need a backstory for that too. I kind of like having backstories to the different districts. Old Town doesn't really have a backstory, except that it was one of the first ones, but it would be nice to have kind of a backstory for that too. Well, we have a little bit of backstory. Bob Tambrin was on the city planning council when Old Town was going strong, and it was one of the only districts. It was the only residential district anyway. And then that was when he was rising to power, so to speak. That was during his time. Back when the city was a lot smaller, even though population-wise it's about the same, which is kind of funny. It's weird how the city grows so much, but the population doesn't seem to grow as fast as the city growth. Because a city that looks like this one does would not be a 30,000 person city. Although this is really not all that large if you think about it. Oh, that's looking beautiful. Now I can see the right side of this district here being rebuilt with the new veins. And I can see right now, traffic coming into the main artery are using all 6 lanes, which is awesome. And again, like I did say, that's very heavy on the extreme outside lanes of that 6 lane one way. And that is because there's so much heavy... there's so much high density in the front part of the district. As we get more high density in the back part of the district, that traffic will even out more. Or basically what will happen is there will just be more traffic in the middle lanes. The outer lanes won't get more traffic. They're going to get as much as they ever will. And then the middle lanes will fill up a lot as we put more high density in the district. Which I do have plans. I kind of feel like... Well, I might make some suburbs eventually. I'm still really building the heart of the city in my opinion. And so I don't really want a lot of low density. I really do just rather have all high density, because I just think it looks cooler. The homes don't look very cool, especially since most of the time the zoning is on and I can't even see the buildings, So it just kind of looks dumb to me. I wish in more cases the zoning did not show. Maybe I need to look up a hotkey for that so I can turn it off and enjoy the city more often. But the zoning kind of hovers above the parking lots, and so if you don't have a really tall building, you can't really even see the building. You know, the homes almost are under the zoning squares, so you almost can't see them at all. But the high-rise ones look really cool. Plus, I just think it adds a little bit of 3D to the city and makes it look a lot cooler. You know, the not so vertical buildings to me don't look as cool. I also rezoned out these office buildings, even though they're a good noise buffer between residential and commercial. They just never get very big, and they're not all that impressive to me, so I kind of wanted to switch them out with something else. I thought they'd get bigger, but apparently not. It's weird how high-density commercial are the high-rises, because most high-rise buildings like that are office buildings. They're not, you know, 40-floor department stores. You know, no. The first 2 or 3 floors might be department store, but generally a 40-floor building or something like that is going to be a bunch of offices. So I kind of thought that would be office buildings, not commercial. But I guess not. I don't know. So really close to being finished. I'm just doing a lot of little final touches here, zoning things in. I just zoned in a lot more high-density residential. And we're just about out of time, actually. 32:37. About 30 seconds left. So this thing's looking really good, and there's a couple places I fixed up off camera. There's just a few squares that didn't get zoned in, but they look really cool. And I think this zone is looking pretty awesome now. I think we're getting close to being ready to starting a new district. I know the Joe Stewart district is not finished yet. It still has a few more expansion. Well, actually, no, it's finished pretty much. I do want to add one more district over there in between the new industrial and Joe Stewart's district. I want to add one more right there. But anyway, that wraps it up. I'll see you guys next time. As always, stay frosty.